let's just talk before we finish up, Theo, about some of the rather strange Christmas stories in the papers this morning, because it is that time of year. As I say, we're only 10 days away now or so from Christmas Eve. It's probably the most surprising story, shocking one, in the Times, page 11 today. The latest issue dividing the nation is the thorny question of whether we should ask our Christmas guests to contribute towards the cost of Christmas dinner. A polling result has shown that 46% of people think their guests should be asked to pay. I mean, that's an extraordinary one. I'm saying, I think we had a case either last year or the year before, of a woman who was charging her own children, who were grown-up children, 20, 25 quid to come for Christmas lunch.
Yes, apparently this is a poll which follows exactly the same dividing lines right across the country as the Brexit vote going back to 2016. So residents of
it's more like Scottish independence, isn't it?
Yeah,
46-54.
Yes, but in terms of where people think the divide should happen. But where am I on this? I can understand Christmas dinner's expensive. Yeah. It is expensive, and if you're the same person hosting every year, and you're you're getting all the crackers. Crackers are at least if you get the decent ones with actually the hats that don't
get the ones from Parliament that don't make any noise,
and ones that actually there's a little bit of a kick in the when you pull the cracker, then. They're 25 quid a box, aren't they? And then,
but I mean, if you're having a big Christmas dinner because you've got a big family, and I know people do, say you have more than 6 people, 8 people, something like that, don't you just kind of muck in and say, well, why don't you bring the wine, or you bring the Brussels sprouts, or you bring the trifle, something like that, don't you? I mean, it's a bit grubby charging people money.
It is grubby. Of course, it's a bit grubby. I'm trying to be a contrarian about this, but if you were thinking about it like that, Mike, you could say, well, if I get the Brussels sprouts, that's a lot cheaper than bringing the wine. Yeah. Why don't we just have a bit of equity about the whole thing, and everybody stumps up 25 quid? Yeah. That's fair, isn't it? And we can have a great Christmas
But it's
dinner.
not very Christmassy.
No, it's not Christmassy. It's not.
Sorry.
It's not the spirit.
No.
And you would hope that whoever hosts Christmas dinner, and I've never been to a Christmas dinner where the hosts have.
I mean, if I was invited to a Christmas dinner, say for example it wasn't a family one, or even if it was a family one, and somebody asked me for money, I'd be like, "You're fine. I'm not coming." Actually, I'd rather sit on my own, which I have done in the past on Christmas Day, because I've worked on Christmas days in the past, and I've made spaghetti and meatballs and sat there with a glass of Chianti and been quite happy. I would not pay anybody to cook me Christmas dinner. I'm not having it.
No, I did have one many years ago where I had some family members over, and they didn't. And we didn't finish all of the food, and some of the food was in packets, and they took the food that they'd brought. Right. They went to the fridge, they took it out, they put it back in the bags. And
took it home. I mean, there have been some Christmas occasions I've been at where I would pay people to leave. Actually, well, I mean, I haven't paid them to leave, but I mean, you would want them to. Okay, why don't you leave now? You've sat around for long enough. It's time to go home.
Or you want them to go home, and of course you can't get a taxi for little money.
No.
And they're there saying, oh yeah, I'll just order it, and then by the time they order it, it's too late, and you're stuck with them.
You're stuck with them, exactly right. Of course, there's always one of these. This is Newcastle University, which is always in trouble. They've apparently asked their staff not to say Christmas break over fears that it might offend snowflake students. Unbelievable stuff. They want to call it instead of winter. They want to call it winter break in the same way that they suggest spring break instead of Easter. I mean, do get stuffed, frankly.
I'm always slightly astounded by this. I think it's always people who come up with these particular ideas that somehow they're trying to do the right thing, but it's always the wrong thing, and I never understand why. It's Christmas. Yeah. It's a Christian festival like Diwali. Ramadan, whatever. These are religious festivals, and we can all celebrate them.
But I don't know anyone who celebrates Diwali or Eid who cares whether you call it Christmas. Everybody's buying Christmas food. Everybody's buying Christmas presents. This from Mike in Blackpool. Mike, he says, we go to our sons every Christmas and all the costs are split between us all. This includes all the food and all the booze. It allows them to put on a really good quality meal that for the cost is well worth the money. Well, see, that's a bit more civilised, a bit more British, it seems to me. That, somebody brings one thing, somebody brings something else, that's fine. We've got a couple of other stories, though. Gen Z, apparently, when you have them are old enough, and I've got some, apparently want to have something less traditional because they want it to look good on Instagram. And some people are suggesting that they have pizza and fried chicken for Christmas dinner instead of turkey with all the trimmings. Yes. I mean, they're going to kill off the human race, these people. They're that useless, No tradition. No tradition, but it is all about the Insta photo. Yeah. And it's about, and you see these Gen Zs, and it's not all of them to be fair, but they sort of walk around
life with their mobile phone, sort of just in front of them, so they can take a picture of whatever moment they're in. And of course, and
they're quite often creating the moment, which is not. They're not actually taking a picture of something. They're taking a picture of something fake that they've just invented. And then finally, apparently, loads and loads of people also give their pampered pets Christmas dinner.
No, I don't do this.
Don't you?
I've got a cat. Cat's overweight. Yeah. And if I give the cat anything other than its particular vet-approved biscuits, diet biscuit, then it's
diet biscuits don't seem to be working
biscuits.
For them.
And the cat, if the cat, but the cat's fat because the cat doesn't move. Yeah. Whether we have to get some sort of hydrotherapy pool for the cat, I don't know.
Don't get a hydrotherapy pool for the cat, for God's sake. Anyway, listen, we'll see you after the news. Thanks, Theo.